Welcome back to Good Morning Oakcrest. I'm Tamika Harris. Now, I'm very excited about today's program because we have a very unique young lady in our studio today. Her name is Cherie, the Stress Manager Cofield. Now, I'm not sure if that's her true middle name, but however, she's here today to tell us ways we can stress less and live more. So with that, I welcome Cherie to the set. Good morning, Cherie.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, you're a woman of many talents and many passions, and one of the passions, though, is health and wellness.
Yes.
Now, tell us, why is this your passion, though?
Wow, I can remember since I was in kindergarten. I knew I was going to be a nurse when I grew up. I actually used to dress up for career day as a nurse and put on my grandmother's stethoscope and say, hey, I'm going to be a nurse when I grow up. But I love helping people. I love making a difference in the lives of others. So that's where my passion came from.
So you're a licensed nurse?
Yes, I'm a licensed practical nurse. 24 years now. I'm telling my age.
Well, nursing is hard work, though.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have some friends who have gone to residency and have gone through their education, and it's not an easy task. In fact, you have to really love it in order to do it every day.
I agree. It
Yeah.
has to be your passion. It has to be something that you are committed to. Otherwise, it won't last long.
Yeah. Well, you have been dubbed the stress manager. Now, tell us why.
Well, I went through a time in my life where I underwent some insurmountable amounts of stress. I went through a terrible divorce. I became an instant single mom. I went bankrupt. I mean, I went totally broke. And can you imagine all those things all at one time? My mom took ill. All those things piled up, and it just really took a toll on me to the point where my body just crashed. I crashed, and I literally lay in bed for months. And I started to write. And the writing is what pulled me through my stress. And so I felt like I needed to share that with others because everyone goes through something in life where they feel like they crash.
But that's very surmountable, though, that all of that at one time. And I'm glad that you're here because we have residents here who are 60-year-old and over, and sometimes life happens just like that for them too. So how can we stress less, though, and live more?
Wow, there's so many little things that we can do that we take for granted. Like just getting up in the morning or whenever you're free and just taking a walk around the block. You're releasing those feel-good hormones, and your body will thank you for it. I mean, you're going to feel great for the rest of the day after you do that. Just the things that we eat, we need to make sure that we're taking, small portions throughout the day, because if your sugar levels start to drop, then you're going to start feeling stressed. Stress is that reaction that your central nervous system gives you to let you know, hey, this is an uncomfortable thing or something's just not right.
Right.
So listen to your body. Do things like eating right, walking, taking exercise. Even the colors that we wear, believe it or not, can have an impact on how we deal with our stress for the day.
Sure. So when I was reading about you, and everything is pretty much online, and it's very easy to find information about you, Miss Cherie. It did not mention that we would go through life without stress. There are some people who would say, live without stress,
Right.
But is that reality?
No, actually, everyone goes through stress. I don't care whether it's a good event or a happy time in your life, a wedding, a grandchild coming, a child coming.
Right.
Those are all changes in your life that your body is going to react to. So even excitement can cause stress, but you'd rather have more of the good stress than the bad stress from things that you don't desire in your life.
Yeah, so it's pretty much, I thought about it and I was like, wow, I think it's a little impossible to live this life without some kind of pressure.
Exactly.
But you show us how we can manage that. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I want to go all the way back, though.
Okay.
Back when Cherie was a little itty bitty little girl, where did you grow up?
I grew up in East Baltimore. I was raised in the projects. My mom was very overprotective, so she always used to tell us, I have a twin sister.
Oh, wow.
She used to tell us, you do not have to be a product of your environment, so it doesn't matter where you're from, it matters where you're going. So early on, she instilled great values in us to work hard, be whatever you want to be.
And what about Mom today? How is she?
Oh, Mom, she is fine now. She's doing just fine. She actually has 9 or either 10 grandkids now.
Wow.
And she's caring for 4 of them right now as we speak.
That's awesome. What
Yes.
did she do when you were growing up?
My mom was always in the school system. She was a substitute teacher, so she was always around. She always volunteered. She put on all the school plays. So my twin sister and I shared the role of Goldilocks in one of the plays. She did the backgrounds, and then she also worked as the cafeteria manager for years in the high schools.
So she was very involved in your life and also provided for the family. Are there any tokens of wisdom that you learned from this woman?
Oh, wow. Definitely hard work. Like, you can do anything. I don't care what happens to you.
Yeah.
Life happens. but
Raising
it's-
twins.
Exactly.
Right.
And we have a brother also that's 7 years younger. But just growing up, she always instilled work hard, work hard. My mom was exemplary in that. So I definitely take that away from her. Hard work pays off.
There was an event that happened in your life about 4 years ago with your father. You mind sharing what happened?
Well, it was Thanksgiving Day, and being a nurse, of course, we don't get the luxury of having holidays off, so I was at work. The plan was to go to his home after work for Thanksgiving dinner with my entire family on his side, and I got a phone call, and I was like, oh, I'll be there right after work. Yeah, I'll be right there. And my cousin said, I'm so sorry. Your dad just had a heart attack in his sleep, and he died.
Oh, wow.
So my coworker said I screamed. I literally do not remember that, but that was really something that I was not at all expecting to hear. My dad was only 59 years old.
Young man.
Young man. As far as we knew, he was in pretty good shape. No serious health occurrences that we knew about. So that was definitely a traumatic phone call that our family received.
But as my grandmother would always say, out of tragedy comes sunshine. So what inspired you from there on, learning about what he went through with the stroke, that inspired you to create what you have today, Cherie Cofield International?
Well, you know, Cherie Cofield International was already in the stages of beginning.
Okay.
But what his death sparked was the expo that I host every year. I host the Let's Get Serious Health, Wellness, Fitness Expo in Baltimore every year. And I felt like we missed something. I said, you know, this man was 59 years old. Did we miss something? Did we not take a close enough look at his health to say, hey, Dad, you need to get on the straight and narrow and get your health right? You know, so I felt like maybe our family wasn't educated enough that we missed some of the signs. So then I made it my mission to start to educate families as a whole, the mother, the father, the grandparents, the kids, bring everybody out to one event for a full day of exercise, education, healthy food samples, teaching you how you should be living. So if we see one of our family members going to the wayside, we can say, hey, straighten up. You know you shouldn't be doing this because I know about Cherie's experience, and I don't want to hear about you passing away at 59.
What was it that he didn't take care of himself, or
no,
what were some of the signs, or
I really still don't see signs that we missed.
or was
but
he
I
under
feel like
stress himself?
maybe, and maybe we just didn't know it because oftentimes we internalize. You know, we always grew up saying, hey, you don't tell your business.
Right.
But we need to start speaking up and telling people what some of the symptoms we're having are, or hey, what are we going through? Talk to somebody, because you never know, that person may be able to share their experience with you that may help you.
Yeah. Well, if you're just joining me, I'm speaking with Cherie Cofield. She is dubbed the Stress Manager, and she's telling us ways we can stress less and live more. Now, not only is this young woman dynamite in her own right as a licensed nurse and also a businesswoman and entrepreneur, but she is also an author. So, Cherie, I'd love to talk about that a little bit. So, I know that we are going to talk about The Crash That Altered My Life, but this was not your first publication, correct?
That's correct. I was a contributing author for a book called The Glamorless Side of Entrepreneurship.
Talk about it.
and the rest of the title was What They Didn't Tell You About Being a Woman in Business.
Oh, wow.
And my chapter was No is Not a Dirty Word. So often we think we have to be everything to everybody.
With the cape on, right?
Yes, with the cape and with a smile on your face. But in all actuality, sometimes no is the best answer that you can give, because you have to take care of yourself first.
I learned on Oprah, and everybody likens me to Oprah every once in a while on this show, right? But I heard on her show, she said, when you say no, because I have a hard time saying no, and I know there are probably some folks out there too that have a hard time saying no, especially when it's your little cute grandchild coming up to you saying, can I have, right? But what Oprah had said was she learned on her show to say, I'm sorry, but that doesn't work for me. Instead of saying the word actual, no.
Right.
For people like myself who cannot say no at times. But truly, it is a lifesaver
Right.
to say no, and that can help relieve stress.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else. And then also in business, you're going to hear a lot of no's. So take that no as not meaning no opportunity and make it mean next opportunity.
Well, you know what? You have to say no sometimes in order to say yes to what you truly want.
Yes,
And
true.
yeah, it's hard to decipher though when to say no and pull
Right.
the plug on something and go for something else. But what seems to work for you?
Listen to your body, listen to yourself. You know, that inner self is talking to you and saying, hey, this is going to stretch me to the limit.
Right.
I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. That's when you have to say, hey, wait a minute, let me step back. Let me take some things off of this already full plate.
Yeah.
So you have to be honest with yourself and listen to what your mind and your body are actually telling you.
That can be hard for some professions, like nursing, when things and people happen and things
Right.
happen and things occur, and you just have to show up. I mean, how do you manage that in your own profession?
You have to be flexible. Definitely have to be flexible because a day can change in an instant. So have a list of priorities, I would say. These are the things that I know I can't dump off. And these are things that, okay, if they happen, it's okay. If it doesn't happen, then it's not the end of the world. So prioritizing, I would say, is key.
What about, well, the holiday season is coming up, and a
Yes.
lot of folks may seem to get overwhelmed with just that, buying things for people or being there at everybody's event. How can we translate this less stress mentality to the social scene?
Well, as far as the gift giving, keep it simple. I mean, the smallest gift can have the greatest impact on the receiver.
Yeah.
The fact that you even thought of people a lot of times is impressive to them. Like, hey, oh my gosh, she remembered me. She got me a gift or he got me a gift. So keep it simple. With the economy the way it is, definitely watch your budget. Say, hey, I'm not going to spend over this amount for each person
And
that I
it
get a
looks
gift
like
for.
that's what's going to happen,
Yes,
right, with the
yes.
government shutdown. But yeah, you have to do what you can do,
Exactly.
and not fall under the pressure of the society's buy this, buy now,
Right.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Homemade gifts is also
Oh yeah.
is a good touch, and it also comes from the heart, so it's less expensive as well.
Yeah, I actually adore homemade gifts.
Yes.
Yeah, and it helps teaches the kids that you don't, it gives them, helps them know what value
Right.
you put into a gift. So,
And it helps relieve stress because you're doing an activity that takes your mind off of everything that you already have going
that's
on.
true.
So,
That's true. Yeah.
so that definitely helps. As far as the social scene, you're not going to make every party, and if you do, you're going to make cameos. Don't feel guilty about making cameos.
Yes, cameos.
Yes. Go in, hey, hi everybody,
Yeah, yeah,
work the
yeah.
room,
Yeah.
and exit out the door, and go to the next place. If you are one of those people like, I can't miss everybody's party.
Exactly.
Do your cameos.
Show
Don't
up,
stress
just
yourself
just
out.
show up for support
Yes.
and exit with grace,
And
right?
don't forget to get some appetizers, because that's always the best part.
Well, Cherie Cofield is here in studio. She is dubbed the Stress Manager, and she's telling us ways to stress less and live more. She's also the author of The Crash That Altered My Life. Now, Cherie, I want to get into this a little bit. We talked about your background, where you're from, and everything. And when I read about your book or read about the title, what came to mind immediately was the movie Crash.
Okay.
And when you think of a crash, it's immediate chaos. So for you, what was that immediate chaos that created this book?
Well, first I want to say, like, exactly, your perception of what the crash is straight. That's exactly what I
Yeah.
wanted to give that illusion. Like, hey, was she in an accident? That's the first thing
Right,
people
right,
say, were
right,
you in an
right.
accident? But when you think of a crash, everything comes to a halt. Everything just stops. Nothing else matters anymore.
And
when you're
sometimes
going
you
through that
can't do
moment.
nothing about it.
Exactly. So my crash, again, going back to the story I was telling you 4 years ago, one day, my husband, I was married for 14 years, he just didn't come home. That was
Crash.
my crash. I mean, we had 2 kids together.
Yeah.
We had bills together.
Yeah, yeah,
and we had
yeah.
a gorgeous home together. And instantly, I became a single mom. I went from being a business owner with him, making over 6 figures in a 6-month time frame, to working 4 jobs to keep the home that we had built together. And just the part, I never wanted to be a single mom.
What was that transition like for you? I know some women who would have fallen apart at the seams, dealing with that and dealing with all of these immediate decisions. It's like decisions pop out of nowhere now because you find yourself in literally a traffic jam, a crash of some sort. How did you deal with that, and how did you come out of it?
It was rough. I mean, I don't hide that at all. People say, why are you telling your business? I'm telling my story because I know there's someone else out there that has gone through what I've gone through, and they need a little help getting through their crash. So, I mean, it was rough.
And what I see too is also a kind of like a chain reaction crash too, because not only did your life crash, but the life of your kids.
Exactly.
So how were they able to heal from that entire ordeal?
I would say my consistency helped them. I would get up long enough to get them ready for school. I would get up, I would go back to bed. I would get back up and get them off of the school bus, cook dinner, and back in my bed. I spent a lot of time with my bed, let me tell you. And I didn't even realize, hey, you are depressed and you don't even know it. And I never sought help. And I said, you know what, I probably needed to seek counseling at that point. And that's why I encourage it now to other people. Like, go talk to somebody else. You know, you're so embarrassed and you feel like, I don't want to tell somebody else, you know, that my what I consider perfect life is now in shambles, you know. So forget all of that. It's about
and
taking care of yourself.
Forget cultural barriers too around seeing someone for professional security, because it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a human thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we need to be able to vent and let that energy out to someone who can help us.
Yeah,
so that's very key. So mental health.
Mental health, definitely.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of weight after that. I mean, I was never really big, but I lost a lot of weight because I wasn't eating. I wasn't taking care of myself. So how could I make proper decisions? It wasn't until I really started to take good care of myself, started exercising again, started eating again, then I was like, hey, it's not as bad as you think it is.
Right.
It's just your reaction. And you laying in this bed is not getting any bills paid. It's not getting your mental health better. It's not helping your children.
And how about the thoughts of feeling guilty that this crash could have perhaps been caused by you? I know a lot of people go through that and process to health, just going back and thinking, because the mind will do that, and as women we do that. Was there something that I did or that we did or whatever? How did you wade through that rough terrain too?
I actually was in shock, more so I think than anything. So I really didn't have the feeling of, okay, did I do something? Because I knew that I was a good mom. I knew I was a good wife and business partner. So I was like, I don't understand. So I had to separate myself from that and say, hey, this is something that he's going through.
I was about to say, sometimes stress is not caused by us, but we have to learn when to kind of let it go and cut it off.
And when people hurt you, a lot of times it's not even about you. It's about something they're going through, their own, turmoil or whatever that they've gone through in life. So we have to start to separate ourselves. That's how you can forgive people. That's the only way.
You are right on point. I'm telling you. So sometimes the crash leads to forgiveness, because sometimes in order for us to move on, we have to forgive people in our past. So
or they still hold the power over you.
Yeah.
If you don't forgive them.
Yeah. So I guess what is the end thought that you have for your readers when it comes to the crash that altered my life?
I would say, life happens. I'm going to keep saying that. Life happens. You cannot dictate
Some others
your
might
life.
have another expletive that can go in there, right?
But we'll keep it clean.
We'll keep it clean. This is TV now.
So life happens. We can all write a script, but that script has to be edited at some point. So when things do happen, it's all about the reaction. We have to stop reacting so harshly to things that happen in life and adjust. And that's what my book helps you to do. It gives you 10 ways to add 10 years to your life through effectively managing your stress. Stress is going to happen. It's here to stay. You can't totally get rid of it, but you can manage it. And so in the book, you can journal. You can just, write where you are today.
So
and
you
then
have some secrets
back.
in here,
Oh,
huh?
yeah. Stress quizzes. You can see where you are if you think you're handling your stress so well.
Oh, good.
You may learn that you really aren't after you read the book. I mean, I read my own book over again when I'm feeling a little uptight. I'm like, whoa, let me read my book. You're the stress manager, So it happens to all of us. I would say, just don't give up. Keep trying. If you need help, seek it. It's okay to say, I need some help.
Wow. What's next for you?
Wow. Well, I just released my third piece of writing. I did a chapter in an international health and wellness book called Getting Well, Mind, Body, and Spirit. And my chapter is, of course, stress, the silent killer.
Yeah, because it is.
Yes.
It can kill people.
Yes,
And it
it
has killed people.
Definitely.
And that's something that should not really be overlooked when it comes to stress. Again, take those capes off and let's try to really manage this thing a lot better than we have. You have a conference coming up in 2014, which is the one you've mentioned before. So folks can go online and look that up, right?
Yes, they can go right on Eventbrite. It's Let's Get Serious 2014.eventbrite.com. And it's a free event. You can bring the whole family out.
Yeah.
We're going to do Zumba. We're going to do some kickboxing. We're even going to have yoga, healthy food samples. It's always a great event. It's from 12 to 5 on April 5th in 2014. At the Power Plant Live, that was exciting for me. We've grown to the point we had to change venues.
You're an amazing woman.
Thank
you
you.
turned your tragedy, your crash, into something really beautiful. You made lemonade out of lemons. And I think that should be our takeaway for today's program is that, you know, you can't give up on life. And if you've made some wrong turns or if some wrong turns have been made on you, you have to find a way to make your life better. And it's never too late.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cherie, we want to thank you so much for being on Good
having
Morning
me.
Oakcrest
Thank
and
you.
sharing ways we can stress less and live more. I feel a little better today. Well, I want to thank all of our viewers as well for watching another great episode of Good Morning Oakcrest. Remember, you could catch a rebroadcast at 2/7/9 as well as midnight. I'm Tamika Harris. Thanks so much for watching. Stress less and live more. We'll see you here again tomorrow.